Yo, what's good? So we're back with part 3. So little update as to why it took so long. As you guys know, I was living in LA. Everything, all my stuff was there, my camera, everything, every single thing that had to do with the challenge and in general was there. And then the virus happened, so pretty much everybody, LA was really bad of a place to be at with the virus. So we all sort of like went back to our hometowns while the virus was going on, because LA was one of the first ones to be hit. So we're like, yo, I'd rather be, somewhere safer at the time than being locked here in the house with I didn't have a car there. So it's like, we kind of had to figure out where to be. So we came back, and obviously we weren't expecting for this to take so long, right? So all my stuff was there in LA still. My clothes, my camera, a lot of my recording equipment, a lot of my products, everything. Like I had 75% of my things there. And then 2 weeks go by. And at this point I thought I was only gonna be gone from LA for maybe a month max. And then it ends up turning out this really long time. I have to get the camera because that camera, I personally think, is a lot better quality than this one. I have an SD card there with all the content from what was supposed to be part 3. And then I'm kind of buying time. I'm trying to find someone to ship the stuff for me. And people start commenting, where's part 3? Where's part 3? Where's part 3? Oh, did it flop? Whatever. So it's like, today I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna record part 3. I'm gonna give you guys everything from the numbers, the results, what went wrong, everything. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to put it in the way that I wanted to put it, which was way better quality. I hate recording in my room, just not because I want to be outside making dope cinematics, dope content, whatever it is. Part 1 and part 2 had a lot of that, and obviously this part's gonna be more straight to the point value, which I guess is better for you guys because you guys don't want to see me put 10 minutes worth of shots. But yeah, so it's still gonna be the same content at the end of the day. We're gonna get to how much revenue, how much profit, what issues did we run into, what things we had to deal with, and it's gonna be pretty straightforward. So just to basically bring closure to the series, I was very excited for part 3 to do some crazy editing, and I wanted that to be the cherry on top at the end of the challenge. But unfortunately, this doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. Fortunately, I was able to find a friend that could ship the stuff from LA to here, but that's gonna take 2 weeks. So I was planning on waiting that initially, but if I wait 2 more weeks to post this video, you guys are just gonna fry me, continue to fry me in DMs and comments, because it's been a week and a half late, and it's already a lot of people DMing me yo, where the fuck is it? So yeah, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna talk numbers, we're gonna talk issues, so let's get to it. So as you guys saw in the ending of the last episode, it pretty much ended with me getting off the plane and talking about how the post went up, right? So I'm flying back from Denver. The post was supposed to go up at 2 p.m. California time. So I'm flying in from Denver. I landed at 11 a.m., which was 3 hours, enough time to go to the bank, do a few things that we had to do, and basically finish setting up the remainder of the site, right? Which was pretty much done, because as you guys saw, I stayed pretty much doing everything the night before, from Zipify, emails, everything was already taken care of, right? So for the most part, everything was done, but there was a few things that we still wanted to do, right? So the post goes on at around 11:30 a.m. literally right as I get off the plane. We start eating sales while I'm in the plane. And if you guys have been on planes, which I assume you have, signal in planes is the worst. No matter what phone company you have, it literally doesn't work. So I'm trying to refresh. I see sales coming in, but I'm trying to get to the site. I'm trying to do test orders to make sure everything's going well, and I can't. So I hit up my boy Fez, and I'm like, yo, check that everything's going well. So it seems that things are going well for the first 30 minutes, right? So whatever that happens, I get to the Uber, and sales start slowing down for some reason. We're only getting sales through PayPal, because I had the PayPal notifications on, and I had obviously Shopify ones, right? And we only start getting PayPal notifications. So it's something's wrong with Shopify, right? Shopify payments, because most of the orders originally were from Shopify payments. and then we're only getting PayPal notifications. So I'm like, something's definitely wrong. So my computer is dead at this point in time, right? Because I only went to Denver with a little bag that had my computer. That way I was able to stay up the night before. I didn't take a charger because I was only there for 8 hours and I had 100%. So I was like, you know, with 100% I could definitely do everything I have to get done. So my computer is dead by this point. So I have no computer. I can't log in through my computer, check what's going on with Shopify payments. My bad, not Shopify payments. The payment provider we were using, because we weren't using Shopify payments at the start. So I hit up Fez like, yo, is there anything wrong with the payment provider we're using? Because all sales are declining. Like, I go and check, I try to do a purchase myself and it says unauthorized something, right? So at this point I start to freak out, I start to sweat. I'm in the Uber. It was a very large investment for these influencer posts. So these are the first hours. Everything has to go well in the first hours because that's when the traffic spikes, and then after the traffic spikes it's just down all the way through, right? So these are the hours where you make your money back and then everything else is profit. So we're having that issue and we're like trying to figure it out. Fez was out having breakfast, I'm in the Uber, so we're both not on a computer, and this is something that you need a computer to fix, right? So I try to log in through the authorize.net, which is the way that payment providers incorporate into Shopify. It's like a middleman. And it says that there's like an issue where, like, if you process over 100 sales in an hour, it automatically starts declining every single order after that, which makes no sense whatsoever. Like, why would anyone ever want a feature that after 100 orders an hour you stop accepting offers, like orders? That makes no sense. No business would ever want that. So it's like the dumbest thing ever. But whatever. So we fixed that, right? Somehow we managed to fix that. We missed like 30 minutes worth of credit card sales, which was a pretty significant amount. It was probably like $6,000 to $7,000 missed right there. So at this point I'm super frustrated, I'm super mad, and like whatever. So I get to the house, I'm very mad at this point because payment providers aren't supposed to fuck up like this, especially when it's something where you have so much money invested. So that cut off like 1/3 of our initial sales that we needed to break even, right? So, you know, at this point it's like we get to the house and we're like trying to figure out what to do. So sales continue to pour in that day. I'll add all the screenshots. I've shown this throughout my channel and videos, but like if this is your first time watching this, which I doubt it because there's 2 videos before this series, I'll throw in all the screenshots and all the numbers at the end. But yeah, so that happens. We sort of figure it out. We get it running, and then sales continue to come in that day. We don't really have any issues that day until this is Saturday, and then Sunday morning comes around. Once again, cards are declining, and this time it's for another issue. So at this point I'm like, yo, fuck that, we're using Shopify payments. Like, those are 2 things that probably lost us over $10,000 to $12,000 within the first day, and it ends up becoming more because of what I'm going to tell you right now. So whatever, Shopify payments, I turn it on. We missed like 6 hours worth of sales that morning because obviously we hadn't noticed. We thought that sales had just slowed down for some reason. Wasn't the case. It was just payment providers fucking us up again. And then whatever, so we keep going, Shopify payments. I personally at this point didn't think that we were gonna break even, or we were just gonna break even. It was very frustrating. I wasn't posting anything about the site or anything, just because I generally thought that it was gonna be a flop because of the payment provider issues. Had it not been for that, we would have broken even first 48 hours, right? So it's like, I'm very frustrated, I'm very angry. It was at the time it was a very big loss because it was not only the influencer post, but it was inventory. As I told you guys, it was like $60,000 up front, right? So everything was supposed to go well, and when things don't go well because of dumb issues that are technically out of your control, it's very frustrating. So the next day I go in to check, and I see that a bunch of everybody that tried to check out, that the card declined, was saved as an abandoned checkout, but they were being sent the regular abandoned cart sequence. So what I had to do was I had to email one by one every single person whose payment declined and I had to tell them, oh, our payment provider was having an issue, but we fixed it, so you can come back and process your order, right? So when I did that, a lot of people came back. We started seeing a little increase in sales. Sales basically spiked up. A screenshot of that right now as well. From like the moment that payment providers were declining to the moment where like we fixed it to Shopify payments, it literally went from like this to this. So that helped a bit. And I believe it took about 4 days to start like to we broke even, basically 4 or 5. And what saved us at this point was day 1 happened, it was very messy. Day 2 happened, started bad because of that, and then everything was smooth. And then after that, we didn't really have any issues because Stripe, Shopify payments, they're very reliable, straight to the point. They're not gonna mess with you. They're like always gonna work unless they ban you for any reason. But in this case, we had inventory. We're delivering within 3 to 5 days, so everything was super smooth with Shopify payments. And then from that point forward, we had no issues. So the reason why we used a different payment provider is because when you have a brand new business and you go from 0 to 10, 20K in a day, you're usually gonna get flagged because that's like high risk to a payment provider. So that's why you use high risk payment providers, which usually are reliable. In this case, I don't know what happened. Fez had used them before. And what we realized is that he had processed so much volume in the store that he had done it before that he probably didn't notice if there was times when it was down or there was times where he was being overcharged fees or anything. But the point is that he hadn't noticed, or maybe he didn't have any issues. But in our case, it was just a complete mess. So when we did Shopify payments, everything started working great. And that ran for 3-4 days. I launched lookalike audiences, retargeting ads on Facebook, and that was doing like 4, 5, 6 return of ad spend, which I've shown you guys in the past in the previous videos, but I'll show it again. So that, like, adding Facebook, email, and the Live Recover app, which texts your customers, which I definitely recommend, we ended up doing an extra $30,000 to $35,000 worth of sales that we wouldn't have made if we didn't have those 3 things. So always when you launch a business, make sure you have abandoned cart emails, that you have an app to text your customers, which is the same thing as abandoned carts but for text messages. Make sure you have retargeting on, because retargeting is very important. And lookalike audiences. Those 4 things right there saved the whole thing, because had we not done that, we would have probably ended up at 45, 50K, maybe break even, maybe like 60, 65. But you have to take into account that when you get to $60,000 in revenue, which is technically break even point, you have orders that you have to ship. So to that, you have to add an extra 13, 15K worth of shipping cost. So now your break even cost isn't anymore 60K, it's 75K, right? So at this point, first 3 days, I'm like, yo, if we get to 70K, we'd lose 5K, you know, whatever. But then lookalike audiences started hitting, and we're able to, instead of go from 22, 11K, and then like 5K, and then 2K a day, it literally went from 22 to 10. I think it went to 7, and then 10, 10, 10, and it stayed like at 10K for like 5 days, right? So because of that, we were able to get to 115K within the 10, 12 days, 14 days span before Valentine's Day. You'll see all the numbers at the end just to make sure everything adds up. And you'll see, I'm gonna put a graph showing all the expenses and how much was total profit. All right, so we're here on the computer now. So we're gonna start with this, so you guys can see the revenue. We did, I'll refresh this so you guys can see. So we did 114,000 in a month. Actually moved this from February just so it's 1 month. It's March, we didn't really sell anything. Pretty much it was like a one-time thing store, so we're gonna really focus on it. We're gonna bring it back for Mother's Day just to move all the stock that we have, which is like 5 to 600 units. But this is pretty much our total sales. And then, so this is a P&L. So let's talk about it. Expenses. We had Shopify expense. So this was the plan and the apps. Inventory, we ended up spending $26,000 in inventory. The influencer post was $30,000, so it was more than the inventory. Then we have Facebook ads. We spent $4,740 on Facebook ads. Payment processor was 1.2K. The fees, $828. Chargebacks, which we still haven't. We could get some of this back because not all of them were lost, but most of them are going to be lost just because the only chargebacks we got were because of the payment provider literally charging people that didn't show up on our Shopify dashboard. and the order didn't go through, but they were still charged for some reason. So literally these two could have been saved, but you live and you learn, right? And then shipping, we spent $14,000 in shipping. And then sales, we had 114,295, as you guys can see right here. This is probably like a few days more. And then so yeah, once you add all the expenses, we had $79,000 worth of expenses. This should have been up by around $10,000 more if we didn't have the issue with the payment provider. And in that case, these two should have been removed, because if we would have done Shopify payments from the start, or if we would have had something more reliable, or we hadn't had those issues, this wouldn't have happened regardless, and this would be up by $10,000 to $15,000 more. So that leaves us with a total net profit sold so far of $35,000, which is about 31% profit margin of the total revenue, which is amazing for 1 month of work. We literally set up in 2 weeks, and for 1 month, that was a $35,000 profit out of a 31% profit margin of $114,000. And we still have $6,500 worth of inventory. That's how much we paid for it. But if we do the Mother's Day sale, which we will, we have 500 units left, and we sell it around, so our average order value is $43, and out of this, around $25 is profit if we do like Facebook ads and stuff. Then let's say we do 25 margin per sale, that's around $12,500 profit. An extra $12,500 in profit that we would add to this, and it would leave us with $47,000 in total profit from the initial investment, because this is already paid for. This is not going to go up. The only thing that's going to go up from here is Facebook ads once we do the Mother's Day thing, and Shopify, because obviously we continue to pay that. Other than that, nothing of this is going up. So it's going to be an additional $12,000 in profit, which will bring the profit margin percent up, and it will bring the profit up to like $47,000 from the initial investment. So although we expected the profit to be around $50,000 in total for the entire venture, if it hadn't been for the issue that we had here, and if it hadn't been for these two, this would be well over 50. So it's still a great margin, 31% out of the 114 that we spent, especially because it was in such a short time frame that the inventory was a lot more expensive than it should have been, because we had to pay for express shipping and everything. But overall, satisfied with it. So now what I want to show you guys is actually the Facebook ad results. All right, so we're here in the ads manager. You guys could see $47.40 spent. We had 4.85 cost per purchase on retargeting. A lot of sales here. $15 for lookalike audiences, still pretty good. And then for our CBO, it ended up being 20. Because we literally pushed it to 1,000 a day. Like, we're trying to like pump out a lot, so this one wasn't too good. But we had a insane return on retargeting, 8.78. LLAs, we did 2.71, and then 1.73 in the last one, not too much, which amounted to, where's the conversion value? My computer's being so slow right now because I have so many things running at once. Right here. So it amounted to $15,000 tracked on Facebook. Should be a little higher, obviously, because Facebook doesn't track. So we had a 3.15 return of ad spend, which is relatively good. And then $15,000 that came from Facebook. So if we hadn't done Facebook, we would have gotten an extra 15K, which I actually think it was closer to 17 to 18K, just because when I was tracking it, you could see the spikes, you could see the sales that came from Facebook, Instagram. So I actually think it's closer to 16, 17, 18 even. And then email marketing brought an additional 5.7K in February. So those two together brought an additional 23K. And then we have Live Recover and all the apps that brought an additional 5 to 7K. So those three things alone basically covered the influencer cost and basically brought us the profit, because we had $35,000 in profit so far, and those three things brought $30,000. So if it wasn't for that, we pretty much would have broken even. But those three things basically saved the investment, saved the venture, and made us profitable. So that's a very clear sign
that you guys should really make sure that you take care of those things before you launch, and don't throw them to the side, because that could be the difference between being profitable and not being profitable. So I hope you guys enjoyed the little series. I'm very sad that part 3 had to be the way it was, but I'm sure you're all in quarantine yourself. Make sure you guys stay safe. I'll come out with a video this week providing an update. I actually had a store, for those of you that are still watching, I had a store that I took to 10K a day, literally at the start of the month. So hopefully it focuses. You guys see the spike. That very first day we did 10K, and then I had to scale back to 500 a day, which is doing right now, because low inventory. So I know you guys are dealing a lot with like low stock in China. It's very rough right now. Shipping times are taking forever. So I'd rather sort of cut down than have to deal with a bunch of angry customers. So I'll provide an update on how I'm dealing with the situation, what I'm doing right now. And I hope you guys enjoyed the series. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below. And thank you for watching. We'll come out with more series soon.